Doom. Oh yes, Doom. One of the first video games I ever played on the PC. I still remember installing the demo I picked up from a video game shop. Yes, those were the days that they used to have demos on a disc in a shop. The good old days, I like to call them. Doom, Quake and Wolfenstein are huge parts of my video gaming journey. I played Quake 3 to a very high level, competing in a lot of tournaments. I played Return to Castle Wolfenstein professionally, and I was on the pro circuit for Painkiller, which was basically a Quake 1 clone, designed by People Can Fly and picked up by the CPL for the pro circuit scene. I love breakneck speed first-person shooter games with fast movement mechanics, so when I saw the reviews for Doom, I felt like this was going to be the game for me, and I felt like I was really in for a treat. I will be reviewing the game versus a weighted score of 85%, so welcome to the over or under for Doom 2016, the ID Software reboot of one of the most iconic video games of all time. All of the missions here are beautifully rendered. Visually, the game still stands up really well. Running at a silky smooth 120 FPS as you would expect on modern technology, it doesn't have any hitches even at its most hectic. The glory kills are graphically violent and pop off the screen, as do the guns and explosions. Trent Reznor handles the music once again and it's largely brilliant. There are some times that I felt like actual razors were being scraped in my ears, but for the most part, it's adrenaline pumping rollercoaster ride of a soundtrack. The music ebbs and flows with the action, and it does really put you in that tunnel vision focused zone once the kills start racking up.
Olivia activated the hell wave from somewhere inside this facility. I did hope she could rise above their influence. I was wrong. She proved to be weaker than I thought she'd be.
Look, it's Doom. And there's a storyline there if you want there to be. The UAC has been tapping into hell to harvest energy, and things don't really turn out exactly as they planned. You need to clear Mars of the demon infestation and close a portal between Mars and hell. However, the story didn't really captivate me and I lost interest pretty quickly. The story is there if you wish it to be, but the focus seemed totally on the flow of the action. To be honest, I don't really come into Doom expecting a riveting or engrossing story, but it's nice that they actually allowed the story to breathe if the player wants it to. There's some really nice subtle humor in there thrown in for old school Doom fans and just for everybody alike, really. And that makes a really nice change of pace and a slight change of atmosphere from the very gory, dark themes that are running through the game. Oh boy, okay. Here we go. Okay, let's get this out of the way right at the start, and then I'm going to explain myself. I found Doom 2016 boring. Honest to God, about halfway through it bored the life out of me, and the last 4 hours of this game were an absolute slog. I'm going to break this down into a few components because I'm well aware that this goes against the myriad of positive reviews that the game has. But I'm here to tell you a lot of the reviews were written by Call of Duty campers who think Doom is a fast-paced game. Movement. A lot was made of the go-forward game design in Doom. Yes, it's a game that rewards and forces you to interact and get up close and personal with enemies, as this is where a lot of the health and ammo drops come from. But also it forces you to get up and close and personal from various distances. Now this is an issue because the movement in this game is slow for me. Now what I mean by that is I expect super fast movement in ID games. Strafe jumping, bunny hopping, air control, rocket jumping, whatever you want to call it. And honestly, without it, this game feels really basic. Now I understand that this is a kind of me issue, or more to the point maybe an old school first person shooter or ID software fan issue, but it is jarring to say the least. I mean, there's not even any rocket jumping, for God's sake. When I first loaded up Doom, I expected that there was going to be an upgrade somewhere down the line that allowed for this faster movement. That upgrade never came, and my overall feeling while playing this game was the player movement speed should have been the speed of the haste power up in the game. So imagine my surprise when I watched some Doom Eternal gameplay, which is by the way the new Doom that ID Software released recently, and felt that they must have felt the same thing as me, because Doom Eternal is a much quicker game which has air movement, dodges, air boosts, and yes, I'll be playing Doom Eternal in the near future. What all of this results in is a game which has a lot of visual flair, but for me, very little gameplay substance. The glory kills end up being overplayed and repetitive, and it becomes just moving from one room to another, killing a bunch of spawned enemies and continuing. The boss fights are jammed into the last 20% of the game, and even then they can't really save the game. There's an upgrade system in there for weapons, which is kind of in a Metroidvania-esque fashion, where it's hidden away behind a bit of exploration. In Doom, I'm kind of not a huge fan of that, because I was hoping that these upgrades would actually provide some more player capability, but they actually don't. But there's, you get enough upgrades there without having to search high and low. The enemy AI is also terrible, borderline non-existent, with the difficulty basically shoved into the damage the enemies do to you and the high amount of health they have, which in turn gives you less health and ammo, which in turn makes the game more difficult. That would have been fine if there was faster movement to allow for a lot of maneuvering, but that just isn't there. I even whacked the field of vision up to 120 to give me the feeling of speed, and it didn't help. Maybe I'm just an adrenaline fiend of the old school for whom there is no hope now. The weapon classics like the rocket launcher and shotgun feel good, though I really feel, and maybe you think I'm being nitpicky here, I feel the rocket launcher could have been faster. It feels more like a Quick 2 rocket launcher than the Quick 1 rocket launcher. The Gauss cannon is a nice railgun replacement though, but holy hell it takes a lot of time between shots. The plasma cannon is mostly forgettable. The secondary fires are great though, and they do allow for some nice quick-stop fragathons that feel satisfying. The level design is pretty decent across the board, although it's really in the hell levels that it really feels like Doom. What with not needing to look like an actual human facility, these allow for all sorts of crazy architecture and layouts. Now I have to caveat everything I'm about to say with this. I didn't go into Doom off the back of 50 COD games or Battlefield games, so maybe the pace of this game didn't catch me like it may have caught a lot of reviewers. But I have to say, a game like Doom 2016 was exactly the reason I started making over and under reviews. This game feels like the type of game that caught a lot of hype the moment in time that it was released in, and it hitched a ride on the hype train. People say the troubled development of Doom doesn't show, but I really feel it does. It doesn't surprise me Doom Eternal is faster, because Doom 2016 feels like a game sat between two philosophies. All out old school Doom, or more conservative new school Doom. The gameplay doesn't capture the imagination after the first few hours, and ultimately it becomes a repetitive bore. There's not enough of a skill gap allowed here in the gameplay to make it feel like a true ID Software game. It feels like it took the best bits of Doom from 1995 and the worst bits of Doom from 1995, when it should have replaced the bad bits with the progress ID Software made with the future games that they made, such as Quake. Ultimately, I have to say that versus a weighted score of 85%, Doom is really overrated, and maybe one of the most overrated games I've played in a long time. Saying that though, I cannot wait to play Doom Eternal, which looks right up my street. I'm feeling a strong 6 to a light 7 for Doom 2016, which I am well aware is way outside the scores other reviewers have given them, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't be doing this YouTube channel if I didn't just sit here and give my honest opinion rather than just agree with everybody else. This is just my honest opinion. I have my reasons due to my background in gaming, and I'm just giving you my review of the game. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed that review. What do you think of Doom? What do you think of these type of FPS games? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you think I'm talking complete rubbish? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to see me review one of your favourite games of all time, or a game you feel is overrated, let me know in the comments. Take care, look after yourselves, and stay safe.